Hello, and Merry Christmas! All my beautiful cutie pies, it's nice to see you. Can we hear Mama okay? It is time to get comfy. We are going to have a whisper stream. It's going to be an ASMR kind of stream. Hello, Jax. Hello. No worries. Hello, Izumi, and Melvin, and Bryant, Metallic Fruit, and Riku. Hello, Lord Peace. We can hear you perfect. This is going to be the kind of stream where you're going to want to wear headphones. Hello, Silverbread. It's so nice to see you. It's going to be a very pleasant stream today, the kind where we read. Oh, thank you for the tip. Hello, Orion. Hello, Gabriel. Peanut Spino. Hello, hello. We're going to read stories today. It's going to be very lovely. We are going to read. Oh, hi, Jerry. Oh, thank you, Silverbread, for the membership. Hi, Mama. I was told catcalling is wrong, but I don't know how else to get cats to hear me. I wasn't supposed to laugh on stream today. That wasn't supposed to be the goal. We're supposed to have whispering today. It's nice to see you. Hello, Francisco. Thank you for the memberships. So sweet of you. Thank you, cutie pie. We're going to have ASMR today on Brave Chaos. Well, today will be a different kind of stream today. Thank you, Victor, for the memberships. Oh no, please. Please, not the never-ending memberships this stream. Not with the ASMR. You guys, please. Hello, Mama. Sorry I wasn't able to watch your streams. That's totally fine. Thank you for being here today. We are going to have a great time reading ASMR, making chaos. Mama will always love you. Doctor, why are you screaming? Whisper stream today. Well, today is to read a story from Hans Christian Andersen. I believe it's called The Ice Queen. Let me see if I can go to the beginning of my book. It is, why is it? Yeah, it's The Snow Queen. Yes. Yes, that's exactly what we're reading, The Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen. Why can I see Doc actually putting a cheese grater to the mic? Oh my goodness, please. Yes, we do have a rain background. Well, the story I believe is a little long. I think it's over 80 pages. Oh no, not The Hobbit. I think the story runs rather long. So we'll see what we can do to get through it. And rain during the winter time is the worst. We actually had a lot of rain over here. So, is ASMR your favorite? I'll have fun with Francisco. Yeah, we do have a 3DO today. And occasionally I'll probably be eating candy. So, ASMR sort of experience that we have other than whispering. Hi, Bruce. Hello. Hello, Gray. It's nice to see you. I had a great Christmas. Yeah, but Michigan's the worst. Yeah, we haven't had any snow at all lately. Mama candy eating ASMR probably will. It will happen. Yes, make sure to get cozy and comfy. Get a good snack. Get your headphones for some quiet, relaxing ASMR. Is this your third stream today, Victor? That's so fun. Today we are reading The Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen. Hello, SCP. Hello. Has it been raining for you all day too? Hi, Luna. I'm at the dinner table with family, but this is more interesting. I know. When have you ever heard Mama just whispering and quiet and calm? I never do this crap. I'm happy to be here now. Oh, wait. It makes me almost unable to hear anything. Wait, why? Do your headphones not... Are you not able to hear anything with the headphones silver red? I've already donated 50 memberships earlier. Oh my goodness, Victor. What streams did you listen to, Victor? What kind of stream? I had audio on the top now. There you go. Possum Scrooge, oh my goodness. Usually Mama is laughing villainously loud. I know. I have to laugh that hard today. You can hear everything, Doctor. Oh, outside noises. Oh, I see. Oh, yes, did ignore. Very, very good. Hello, Plot Finder. Hello, it's nice to see you. Hello, Des. I'm glad that you were able to make it too, Plot Finder. What kind of tea are we drinking? What did you guys want as far as tea today? Yes, we are doing ASMR. I have chai and green tea, and I have hibiscus. And of course, Doctor's bathwater. stream. I laugh at everything you guys do. You guys know. Stop. No, not the thick water, guys. Please. This is supposed to be a relaxing stream. Don't bring your chaos in here today. Small children, thank you. Thank you. Freaking thick water. It is going to be a quiet stream today, Downcast. Nice and cozy. What about Doctor's bathwater? Ayo. 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 Another time. Today we have green tea. You're going to put the chaos in here. Jerry, you're always wanted here. Listen. It's going to be a calm, relaxing stream. It's going to be good. Good things today. Yeah, shh. Calmate. Calmate, amigos. We are going to hear the story from Mama. And no headbands today, okay? It's calm, relaxing stream. No crazy. We turned the crazy down today. Yes. It's blood, Cha-Cha. Listen, today we have green tea, so I don't want to hear about blood. Grab your snacks. Make sure to get a pair of headphones today for our lovely ASMR reading stream. Shoot, I already clicked back to the story. Hi, David. You know how you put little umbrella in cocktails? You should have a little Christmas tree in your tea. I think that would be adorable. Did we have time for that kind of thing? No. We did not. Meanwhile, Luna is like blood. Blood for the blood god. Thank you for the anon. Oh, bathwater for 5 minutes. Doctor's bathwater for 5 minutes. You guys are getting a little loud in chat today. I'm gonna drag my RGB to purple. That sounds so nice. Oh, does it mean calm and EP? Do I give calm and EP vibes today? Yeah, muchas gracias, of course. De nada, the tea has been drank. We are going to have relaxing stream, calm stream, nice tonal stream. Okay, so with occasional candy eating, and I could do a little tippy tap with my nails. There we go, tippy taps. Are we hunting rabbits? Victor, what kind of? This is a storytelling stream. What do you mean later? What are you guys doing later? Did you get your popcorn, Des? I'm cooking the Christmas dinner right now. Oh, the ham is in the oven. That sounds delicioso. Ugly Duckling is a nice story. Unhappy end of the story, you will know more than you know now about a very wicked hobgoblin. He was one of the worst kind. In fact, he was a real demon. One day, he was in a high state of delight because he had invented a mirror with this peculiarity that every good and pretty thing reflected in it shrink away to almost nothing. On the other hand, every good and bad good-for-nothing thing stood out at its worst. The most beautiful landscapes reflected in it looked like boiled spinach, and the best people became hideous, or else they were upside down and had no bodies. Their faces were distorted beyond recognition, and if they had even one freckle, it appeared to spread all over the nose and mouth. The demon thought this immensely amusing. If a good thought passed through anyone's mind, it turned to a grin in the mirror, and this caused real delight in the demon. All the scholars in the demon's school, for he kept a school, reported that a miracle had taken place. Now, for the first time, it had become possible to see what the world and mankind were really like. They ran about all over with the mirror, till at last there was not a country or a person which had not been seen in this distorting mirror. They even wanted to fly up to heaven with it to mock the angels. But the higher they flew, the more it grinned, so much so that they could hardly hold it. And at last it slipped out of their hands, and it fell to the earth, shivered into hundreds of millions and billions of bits. Even then, it did more harm than ever. Some of these bits were not as big as a grain of sand, and these flew all over the world, getting into people's eyes. And once in, they were stuck there, distorted, and everything they looked at, or made them see everything that was amiss. Even the tiniest grain of glass kept that same power that possessed by the whole mirror. Some people even got a bit of the glass into their hearts, and that was terrible, for the heart became like a lump of ice. Some of the fragments were so big that they were used for window panes, but it was not advisable to look at one's friends through these panes. Other bits were made into spectacles, and it was a bad business when people put these spectacles on, meaning to be just. The bad demon laughed till he split his sides. It tickled him to see the mischief he had done. But some of these fragments were still left floating about the world, and you shall hear what happened to them. Doctor, how do I go to the next page? Doctor, how do I go to the next page? Instructions are clear. How did you do that?
I clicked twice.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Merry Christmas, cutie pies.
Oh my gosh, get away. Thank you. Hello, Squid, and welcome home. In a big town, crowded with houses and people, where there is no room for gardens, people have to be content with flowers and pots instead. In one of these towns lived two children who managed to have something bigger than a flower pot for a garden. They were not a brother and sister, but they were just as fond of each other as if they had been. Their parents lived opposite each other in two attic rooms. The roof of one house just touched the roof of the next one, with only a rainwater gutter between them. They had a little dormer window, and one only had to step over the gutter to get from one house to the other. Each of the parents had a large window box in which they grew pot herbs and a little rose tree. There was one in each box, and they grew splendidly. Then it occurred to the parents to put the boxes across the gutter from house to house, and they looked just like 2 banks of flowers. The pea vines hung down over the edges of the boxes, and the roses threw out long creepers which twined around the windows. It was almost like a green triumphal arch. The boxes were high, and the children knew that they must not climb up to them, but they were often allowed to have their little stools out under the rose trees, and there they had delightful games. Of course, in the winter there was an end to these amusements. The windows were often covered with hoarfrost. Then they would warm coppers on the stove and stick them on the frozen panes, where they made lovely peepholes as round as possible. Then a bright eye would peep through these holes, one from each window. The little boy's name was Kay, and the little girl's Gerda. In the summer they would reach each other with one bond, but in the winter they had to go down all the stairs in one house and up the stairs into the other, and outside there were snowdrifts. "Look, the white bees are swarming," said the old grandmother. Have they a queen bee too?" asked the little boy, for he knew that there was a queen among the real bees. "Yes, they indeed have," said the grandmother. "She flies where the swarm is thickest. She is biggest of them all, and she never remains on the ground. She always flies up to the sky again. Many a winter's night she flies through the streets and peeps into the windows, and then the ice freezes on the panes into wonderful patterns like flowers." "Oh yes, we have seen that," said both children, and then they knew it was true. "Can the Snow Queen come in here?" asked the little girl. "Just let her come," said the boy, "and I will put her on the stove where she will melt." But the grandmother smoothed his hair and told him more stories. In the evening little Kay was at home, and half undressed, he crept upon the chair by the window and peeped out of the little hole. A few snowflakes were falling, and one of those, the biggest, remained on the edge of the window box. It grew bigger and bigger, till it became the figure of a woman, dressed in the finest white gauze, which appeared to be made of millions of starry flakes. She was delicately lovely, but all ice, glittering, dazzling ice. She was alive. Her eyes shone like 2 bright stars, but there was no rest or peace in them. She nodded to the window and waved her hand. The little boy was frightened and jumped down off of his chair, and then he fancied that a big bird flew past the window. The next day was bright and frosty, and then came the thaw, and after that the spring. The sun shone, green buds began to appear, the swallows built their nests, and people began to open their windows. The little children began to play in their garden on the roof again. The roses were in splendid bloom that summer. The little girl had learnt a hymn, and there was something in it about roses that made her think of her own. She sang it to the little boy, and when he sang it with her, then he sang it with her. "Where roses deck the flowery vale, their infant Jesus we thee hail." The children took each other by the hands, kissed the roses, and rejoiced in God's bright sunshine, and spoke to it as if it was the child of Jesus that were there itself. What lovely summer days they were, and how delightful it was to sit out under the fresh rose trees, which seemed never tired of blooming. Kay and Gerda were looking at a picture book of birds and animals one day. It had just struck 5 by the church clock when Kay said, "Oh, something struck my heart, and I have something in my eye." The little girl put her arms around his neck. He blinked his eye. There was nothing to be seen. "I believe it's gone," he said. But it was not gone. It was one of those very grains of glass from that mirror, the magic mirror. You remember that horrid mirror, in which all good and great things reflected in it became small and mean, while the very bad things were magnified and every flaw became apparent. Poor Kay. A grain of it had gone straight into his heart, and soon it would turn into a lump of ice. He did not feel it any more, but it was still there. "Why do you cry?" he asked. "It makes you look ugly." "There's nothing the matter with me, how horrid," he suddenly cried. "There's a worm in that rose. That one looked quite crooked after all. They were nasty roses, and so are the boxes they are growing in." He kicked the box and broke off 2 of the roses. "What are you doing, Kay?" cried the little girl. When he saw her alarm, he broke off another rose, and then he ran in by his own window and left dear Gerda alone. When she next got out the picture book, he said it was only fit for babies in long clothes. When his grandmother told him stories, he always had a but, and if he could manage it, he liked to get behind her chair, put on her spectacles, and imitate her. He did it very well, and people laughed at him. He was soon able to imitate everyone in the street. He could make fun of all their peculiarities and failings. "He will turn out to be a clever fellow," said people. But it was all that bit of glass in his heart, that bit of glass in his eye, and it made him tease little Gerda, who was so devoted to him. He played quite different games now. He seemed to have grown older. One winter's day, when the snow was falling fast, he brought in a big magnifying glass. He had held out the tail of his blue coat and let the snowflakes fall upon it. "Now look through the glass, Gerda," he said. Every snowflake was magnified, and it looked like a lovely flower or a sharply pointed star. "Do you see how cleverly they are made?" said Kay. "Much more interesting than looking at real flowers. And there is not a single flaw in them. They are perfect. If only they would not melt." Shortly after, he appeared in his thick gloves, with his sledge on his back. He shouted right into Gerda's ear. "I have got to leave to drive in the big squares where the other boys play." And away he went. In the big square, the Boulder boys used to tie their little sledges to farm carts and go a long way in this fashion. They had no end of fun over it. Just in the middle of their games, a big sledge came along. It was painted white, and the occupant wore a white fur coat and cap. The sledge drove twice round the square, and Kay quickly tied his sledge behind it. Then off they went faster and faster into the next street. The driver turned around and nodded to Kay in the most friendly way, just as if they knew each other. Every time Kay wanted to loose his sledge, the person nodded again, and Kay stayed where he was. They drove right out through the town gates. Then the snow began to fall so heavily that the little boy could not see a hand before him as they rushed along. He undid the cords and tried to get away from the big sledge, but it was no use. His little sledge stuck fast, and on they rushed, faster than the wind. He shouted aloud, but nobody heard him, and the sledge tore on through the snowdrifts. Every now and then it gave a bound, as if it were jumping over hedges and ditches. He was very frightened, and he wanted to say his prayers, but all he could remember were the multiplication tables. The snowflakes grew bigger and bigger, till at last they looked like big white chickens. All at once they sprang on one side, the big sledge stopped, and the person who drove up got up, coat and cap smothered in snow. It was a tall and upright lady, shining in white, the Snow Queen herself. "We have come along at a good pace," she said. but it's cold enough to kill one. Creep inside my bear-skin coat." She took him into the sledge by her, wrapped him in her furs, and he felt as if he were sinking into a snowdrift. "Are you cold?" she asked. And she kissed him on the forehead. Ah, it was colder than ice.
Welcome home.
It went through his very heart, which was already more than half ice, he felt. As if he were dying, but only for a moment. And then it seemed to have done him good. He no longer felt the cold. "My sledge. Don't forget my sledge." He only remembered it now. It was tied to one of the white chickens which flew along behind them. The Snow Queen kissed Kay again, and he forgot all about little Gerda, grandmother, and all the others at home. "Now, I mustn't kiss you any more," she said, "or I should kiss you to death." Kay looked at her. She was very pretty. A cleverer, more beautiful face that she could hardly be imagined. She did not seem to be made of ice now. As she was outside the window, when she waved her hand to him, in his eyes she was quite perfect. And he was not a bit afraid of her. He told her that he could do mental arithmetic as far as fractions, that he knew the number of square miles and the number of inhabitants of the country. She always smiled at him, and he then thought that he surely did not know enough. And he looked up into the wide expanse of heaven, into which they rose higher and higher, as she flew with him out to the dark cloud, while the storm surged on around them, the wind ringing in their ears like well-known old songs. They flew over the woods and lakes, over oceans and islands. The cold wind whistled down below them, the wolves howled, the black crows flew screaming over the sparkling snow. But up above, the wind shone bright and clear, and Kay looked at it all the long, long winter nights. In the day, he slept at the Snow Queen's feet. But how was little Gerda getting on all along this long time since Kay left her? Where could he be? Nobody knew. Nobody could say anything about him. All that the other boys knew was that they had seen him tie his little sledge to a splendid big one which drove away down the street and out of the town gates. Nobody knew where he was, and many tears were shed. Little Gerda cried long and bitterly. At last, people said he was dead. He must have fallen into the river, which ran close by the town. Oh, what a dark winter days those were. At last the spring came, and the sunshine. "Kay is dead and gone," said little Gerda. "I don't believe it," said the sunshine. "He is dead and gone," said the swallows. "Oh, no, he is dead and gone," she said to the swallows. "We don't believe it," said the swallows. And at last little Gerda did not believe it either. "I will put on my new red shoes," she said one morning. "Those Kay never saw, and then I will go down to the river and ask it about him." It was very early in the morning. She kissed the old grandmother, who was still asleep, and put on the red shoes, and went quiet, alone, out by the gate to the river. "Is it true that you have taken my little playfellow? I will give you my red shoes if you will bring him back to me again," she thought. The little ripples nodded in such a curious way. She took off her red shoes, her most cherished possessions, and threw them down to the river. They fell close by the shore, and they were carried straight back to her by little wavelets. It seemed as if the river would not accept her offering, as it had not taken little Kay. She only thought she had not thrown them far down enough, so she climbed into a boat which lay among the rushes, and then she went right out further to the end of it, and threw the shoes into the water again. But the boat was loose, and her movement started it off, and it floated away from the shore. She felt it moving and tried to get out, but before she reached the other end, the boat was more than a yard from the shore, and it was floating away quite quickly. Little Gerda was terribly terrified and frightened, and began to cry, but nobody heard her except the sparrows, and they could not carry her to the shore. But they flew alongside, twittering as if to cheer for her. "We're here! We're here!" The boat floated rapidly away with the current. Little Gerda sat quite still, with only her stockings on. Her little red shoes floated behind, but they could not catch up with the boat, which drifted away faster and faster. The banks on both sides were very pretty, with beautiful flowers and fine old trees and slopes dotted with sheep and cattle, but not a single person. "Perhaps the river is taking me to the little cave," thought Gerda, and that cheered her. She sat up and looked at the beautiful green banks for hours. Then they came to a big cherry garden. There was a little house in it, with curious blue and red windows. It had a thatched roof, and 2 wooden soldiers stood outside, who presented arms as she sailed past. Gerda called out to them. She thought they were alive, but of course they did not answer. She was quite close to them, for the current drove the boat close to the bank. Gerda called out again, louder than before, and then an old woman came out of the house. She was leaning upon a big hooked stick, and she wore a big sun hat. The sun hat, which was covered with beautiful painted flowers. "You poor little child," said the old woman. "However were you driven out in this big, strong river into the wide, wide world alone?" Then she looked right into the water and caught hold of the boat with her hooked stick, and she drew it ashore to lift little Gerda out. Gerda was delighted to be dry on land again, but she was a little frightened at the strange old woman. "Come and tell me who you are, and how you got here," said she. When Gerda told her the whole story and asked her if she had seen Kay, the woman said she had not seen him, but that she expected him. Gerda must not be sad. She was to come and taste her cherries and see her flowers, which were more beautiful than any picture book. Each one had a story to tell, and then she took Gerda by the hand, and they went into the little house, and the old woman locked the door. The windows were very high up, and they were red and blue and yellow, and they were very curious in light into the room. The table had quantities of the most delicious cherries, of which Gerda had to leave to eat as many as she'd ever liked. Which, while she was eating, the old woman combed her hair with a golden comb, so that the hair curled and shone like gold round the pretty little face, which was as sweet as a rose. "I have long wanted a little girl like you," said the little old woman. "You will see how well we shall get on together." While she combed her hair, Gerda had forgotten all about Kay, for the old woman was learned in the magic art, but she was not a bad witch. She could only cast spells over people for a little amusement, and she wanted to keep Gerda. She therefore went into the garden and waved her hooked stick over all the rose bushes, and however beautifully they were flowering, all sank down into the rich black earth without leaving a trace behind them. The old woman was afraid that if Gerda saw the roses, she would be reminded of Kay, and would want to run away. And then she took Gerda into the flower garden. What a delicious scent there was! And every imaginable flower for every season was in that lovely garden. No picture book could be brighter or more beautiful. Gerda jumped for joy, and played till the sun went down behind the tall cherry trees. Then she was put in a lovely bed with rose-colored silken coverings stuffed with violets. She slept and dreamt as lovely dreams as any queen on her wedding day. The next day she played with flowers in the garden again, and many days passed in the same way. Gerda knew every flower, but however many there were, she thought there was one missing. But which, she did not know. One day she was sitting and looking at the old woman's sun hat with its painted flowers. The very prettiest one of them all was a rose. The old woman had forgotten her hat, which she had charmed the others away. This is the consequence of being absent-minded. "What?" said Gerda. "Are there no roses here?" And she sprang in among the flower beds and sought. In vain. Her hot tears fell on the very places where the roses used to be. When the warm drops moistened the earth, the roses shot up again, just as full of bloom as when they sank. Gerda embraced the roses and kissed them, and then she thought of the lovely roses at home, and this brought the little thought of Kay. Oh, I have been delayed," said the little girl. "I ought to have been looking for Kay. Don't you know where he is?" She asked the roses. Do you think he's dead and gone?" "He is not dead," said the roses. "For we have been down underground, you know. All the dead people are there, but Kay is not among them." "Oh, thank you," said little Gerda. And then she went to the other flowers and looked into their cups and said, "Do you know where Kay is?" But each flower stood in the sun and dreamt its own dreams. Little Gerda heard many of these, but never anything about Kay. What said the tiger lilies? "Do you hear the drum, rub-a-dub? It has only 2 notes, rub-a-dub, always the same, the wailing of a woman and the cry of a preacher. The Hindu woman in her long red garment stands on the pile, while the flames around her and her dead husband, but the woman is only thinking of the living man in the circle round, which eyes burn with a fiercer fire than that of the flames which consume the body. Do the flames of the heart die in the fire?" "I understood nothing about that," said little Gerda. "That is my story," said the tiger lily. "What does the convolvulus say?" "An old castle is perched high over a narrow mountain path. It is closely covered with ivy, almost hiding the old red walls, and creeping up, leaf upon leaf, right on the balcony where stands a beautiful maiden. She bends over the balustrade and looks eagerly up the road. No rose on its stem is fresher than she, no apple blossom, wafted by the wind, moves more lightly. Her silken robe rustles softly as she bends over and say, 'Will he never come?'" "Is it Kay you mean?" asked Gerda. "I am only talking about my own story, my dream," answered the convolvulus. What said the little snowdrop flower? "Between 2 trees is a rope, with a board and hanging. It is a swing. 2 pretty little girls in snowy frocks and green ribbons fluttering on their hats are seated on it. Their brother, who is bigger than they, stands upon them, his arms round the ropes for supports, and holds in one hand a little bowl, and another a clay pipe. He is blowing soap bubbles. As the swing moves, the bubbles fly upwards in their changing colors. The last one still hangs from the pipe, swayed by the wind, and the swing goes on. A little black dog runs up, and he almost as light as the bubbles. He stands up on his hind legs and wants to be taken in by the swing, but it does not stop. The little dog falls with an angry bark. They jeer at it. The bubble bursts. A swinging blank, fluttering foam picture. That is my story." "I dare say. What you tell me is very pretty, but you speak so sadly, and you never mention little Kay." "What say the hyacinth?" They were 3 beautiful sisters, almost delicate and quite transparent. One wore a crimson robe, and the other blue, and the other was pure white. These 3 danced hand in hand by the edge of the lake in the moonlight. They were human beings, not fairies of the wood. The fragrant air attracted them, and they vanished into the wood. Here the fragrance was stronger still. 3 coffins glide out of the wood toward the lake, and in them lie the maidens. The fireflies flutter lightly around them with their fluttering torches. Do these dancing maidens sleep, or are they dead? The scent of the flowers say that they are corpses. The evening bell tolls their knell. You make me quite sad, said little Gerda. Your perfume is so strong, and it makes me think of those dead maidens. Oh, is Kay really dead? The roses have been underground, and they say no. Ding dong, told the hyacinth bells. We are not tolling for little Kay. We know nothing about him. We sing our song, the only one we know. And Gerda went to the buttercups, shining among their dark green leaves. You are a bright little sun, said Gerda. Tell me if you know where I shall find my playfellow. The buttercup shone brightly and returned Gerda's glance. What song would the buttercup sing? It would not be about Kay. God's bright sun shone in a little court on the first day of spring. The sunbeams stole down the neighboring wall, close to which bloomed the first yellow flower of the season. It shone like burnished gold. In the sun, an old woman had brought her armchair out into the sun. Her granddaughter, a poor and pretty maidservant, had come to pay her a short visit. As she kissed her, there was a gold, heart's gold in the kiss. Gold on the lips, gold on the ground, and gold above, in the early morning beams. Now that is my little story, said the buttercup. Oh, my poor grandmother, sighed Gerda. She will be longing to see me and grieving about me, as she did about Kay. But I shall soon go home again and take Kay with me. It is useless for me to ask the flowers about him. They only know their own stories and have no information to give me. Then she tucked up her little dress so that she might run the faster. But the narcissus blossoms struck her on the legs as she jumped over them. So she stopped and said, Perhaps you can tell me something. She stooped down close to the flower and listened. What did it say? I can see myself. I can see myself, said the narcissus. Oh, how sweet is my scent. Up there in an attic window stands a little girl, half dressed. First she stands on one leg and then the other, and looks as if she would tread the whole world under her feet. She is only a delusion. She pours some water out of the teapot to a bit to clean the stuff she is holding. It is her bodice. Cleanliness is a good thing, she says. Her white dress, hands on the peg, is washed to the teapot too. And dried on the roof, she puts it on and wraps a saffron-colored scarf around her neck, which makes the dress look wider. See how high she carries her head, and upon one stem. I see myself. I see myself. I don't care a thing about that, said Gerda. It is no use telling me such stuff. And then she ran to the end of the garden. The door was fastened, and she pressed the rusty latch, and it gave way. The door sprang open, and little Gerda ran out with bare feet into the wide world. She looked back 3 times, but nobody came after her. At last, she could run no further, and she sat down on a big stone. When she looked around, she saw the summer was over. It was quite late autumn. She would have never known it was summer was over? Sorry, an aside from Mama. Summer's over, you guys. She stayed until late autumn, where the sun always shone and the flowers of every season were always in bloom. That's crazy. She was there for a long time. Okay, we're gonna keep reading. Oh, I have wasted my time, said little Gerda. It is autumn. I must not rest any longer. And she got up to go on. Oh, how weary and how sore her little feet, and everything round looked so cold and dreary. The long willow leaves were quite yellow, the damp mist fell, the trees looked like rain. One leaf dropped after another, and the trees and the only sloe thorn still bore its fruit. But the sloes were sour, and they set one's teeth on edge. Oh, how grey and sad it looked out in the wide world. Gerda was soon obliged to rest again. A big crow hopped on the snow just in front of her. It had been sitting and looking at her for a long time and wagging its head. Now it said, "Caw-caw, good day, as well as it could." It meant to be kind to the little girl, and it asked her where she was going, alone in the wide world. Gerda understood the word alone and knew how much there was in it, and she told the crow the whole story of her life and adventures, and even asked if it had seen Kay. The crow nodded its head gravely and said, "Maybe I have. Maybe I have." "What do you really think you have?" cried the little girl, nearly smothering him with her kisses. "Gently, gently," said the crow. "I believe it may have been Kay, but he has forgotten you this time, I expect, for the princess." "Does he live with a princess?" asked Gerda. "Yes, listen," said the crow. "But it is so difficult to speak your language. If you understand crow's language, I can tell you much better." "No, I have never learned it," said Gerda, "but grandmother knew it and used to speak it. If only I had learned it." "It doesn't matter," said the crow. "I will tell you as well as I can, although I may do it rather badly." Hand in hand, by the edge of the lake of the moonlight. Hold on. There we are. He then told her what he had learned. "In this kingdom where we are now," said he, "there lives a princess who is very clever. She has read all the newspapers in the world, and forgotten them again. So clever is she, one day she was sitting on her throne, which is not an amusing thing to do either, they say, and she began humming a tune which happened to be, 'Why should I not be married, and oh why?'" "Why not indeed?" said she, and she made up her mind to marry, if she could only find a husband who had an answer already when a question was put to him. She called all the court ladies together, and when they had heard what she wanted, they were delighted. "I like that now," they said. "I was thinking the same thing myself the other day." Every word I said was true," said the crow, "for I have a tame sweetheart who goes about the palace whenever she likes, and she told me the whole story." Of course, his sweetheart was a crow, for birds of a feather flock together, and one crow always chooses another. The newspapers all came out immediately with borders of hearts and the princess's initials, and they gave notice that any young man who was handsome enough might go to the palace to speak to the princess. The one who spoke as if they were quite at home and spoke well would be chosen by the princess as her husband. Yes, you may believe me. It is as true as I sit here," said the crow. "The people came crowding in, and there was such running and such crushing, but no one was fortunate enough to be chosen, either on the first day or on the second. They could all of them talk well enough in the street, but when they entered the castle gates and saw the guard in silver uniforms, when they went up the stairs through rows of lackeys, gold-embroidered liveries, their courage forsook them. When they reached the brilliantly lighted reception rooms and stood in the front of the throne where the princess was seated, all they could think of was nothing to say. They only echoed her last words, and of course that's not what she wanted. It was as if they had all been taken some kind of sleeping powder,
which had made them lethargic. They did not recover themselves until they got out of the street again, and then they had plenty to say then. There was quite a long line of them, reaching from the town gates up to the palace. I went to see them myself, said the crow. They were hungry and thirsty, but they got nothing at the palace, not even as much as a glass of tepid water. But some of the wise ones had taken sandwiches with them, but they did not share with their neighbors. They thought if the others went in to the princess looking hungry, that there would be more chance for themselves.
But little Kay, asked Gerda.
When did he come? Was he amongst the crowd? Give me time, said the crow. We were just coming to him. It was on the third day that a little personage came marching cheerfully along with the other carriage and a horse. His eyes sparkled like yours, and he had beautiful long hair, and his clothes were very shabby.
Oh, it was Kay, said Gerda gleefully. Then I have found him, she clapped her hands.
He had a little knapsack on his back, said the crow.
No, it must have been his sledge. He had it with him when he went away, said Gerda.
It may be so, said the crow. I did not look very particularly, but I know from my sweetheart that when he entered the palace gates and saw the lifeguards in their silver uniforms and the lackeys on the stairs in their gold-lace liveries, he was not the least bit abashed. He just nodded to them and said,
"It must be very tiresome to stand upon the stairs and going inside." The rooms were blazing with lights.
The rooms were blazing with lights. Privy councillors and excellencies without number were walking about barefoot, carrying golden vessels. It was enough to make you solemn. His boots creaked fearfully too, but he wasn't a bit upset.
"Oh, I'm sure that was Kay," said Gerda. "I know he had a new pair of boots. I heard them creaking in grandmother's room."
"Yes, indeed, they did creak," said the crow, but nothing daunted, he went straight up to the princess, who was sitting on a pearl as big as a spinning wheel. Poor simple boy! All the court ladies and their attendants, the courtiers and their gentlemen, each attended by a page, were standing all around. The nearer the door they stood, so much the greater was their haughtiness, till the footman's boy, who always wore slippers and stood in the doorway, almost looking too proud even to be looked at.
"It must have been awful," said little Gerda. "And yet Kay has won the princess."
"If I had not been a crow, I should have taken her myself, notwithstanding that I am engaged to my sweetheart. They say he spoke as well as I could have done myself, when I speak crow language, at least so my sweetheart says. He was a picture of good looks and gallantry, and then he had not come with any idea of wooing the princess, but simply to hear her wisdom. He admired her just as much as she admired him."
"Indeed it was Kay then," said Gerda. "He was so clever, he could do mental arithmetic up to fractions. Oh, would you take me to the palace?"
"It's easy enough to talk," said the crow, "but how are we to manage it? I will talk to my tame sweetheart about it, but she will have some advice to us to give, I dare say, but I'm bound to tell you that a little girl like you will never be admitted."
"Oh, indeed I shall," said Gerda. "When Kay hears that I am here, he will come out at once to fetch me."
"Wait here for me by the stile," said the crow, and then he wagged his head and flew off. The evening had darkened in before he came back. "Caw," he said. "She sends you greetings, and here is a little roll for you. She got it by the kitchen, where there is bread enough. Every day, I dare say, you are hungry. It is not possible for you to get into the palace. You have bare feet. The guards in silvers and the lackeys in gold will never let you pass. But don't cry. We shall get you in somehow. My sweetheart knows a little something." We're turning the page. "A little staircase in which it leads up to the bedroom, and she knows where the key is kept. They went into the garden, and in the great avenue where the leaves were dropping softly one by one, and the palace lights went out, one after the other, the crow led little Gerda to the back door, which was ajar. Oh, how Gerda's heart beat with fear. It was as if she was about to do something wrong, and yet she only wanted to know if this really was little Kay. Oh, it must be him, she thought, picturing to herself his clever eyes and his long hair. She could see his very smile, how they used to sit under the rose trees at home. She thought he would be very glad to see her, and to hear what a long way she had come to find him, and to hear how sad they had been at home when he did not come back. Oh, it was joy mingled with fear. They had reached the stairs, where a lamp was burning on a shelf. There stood the tame sweetheart, twisting and turning her head to look at Gerda, who made a curtsy, as grandmother had taught her. My betrothed has spoken so charmingly to me about you, my little miss, she said. Your life, Vita, as it is called, is most touching. If you will take the lamp, I will go in the front. We shall take the straight road here, and we shall meet no one. It seemed to me that someone is coming behind us, said Gerda, as she fancied something rushed past her, throwing a shadow on the walls, horses with flowing manes and slender legs, huntsmen, ladies, and gentlemen on horseback. Oh, those are only the dreams, said the crow. They come to take the thoughts of the noble ladies and gentlemen out hunting. That's a good thing, for you will be able to see them all the better in bed, but don't forget when you are taken into favor to show a grateful spirit. Now, there's no need to talk about it, said the crow from the woods. They came now into the first apartment. It was hung with rose-colored satin embroidered with flowers. Here again the dreams overtook them, and they flitted by so quickly that Gerda could not distinguish them. The apartments became one more beautiful than the other, and they were enough to bewilder anybody. They now reached the bedroom. The ceiling was like a great palm with crystal leaves, and in the middle of the room were two beds, each like a little lily, hung from a golden stem. One was white, and in it lay the princess, and the other was red, and there lay he whom Gerda had come to seek, the little Kay. She had bent aside one of the crimson leaves, and she saw a little brown neck. It was Kay. She called his name aloud, and the lamp close to him. Again the dreams rushed through the room. On horseback he awoke, turned his head, but it was not little Kay. It was only the prince's neck, which was like his, but he was young and handsome. The princess peeped out of her white lily bed and asked what the matter was, and then little Gerda cried and told them all her story, and what the crows had done to help her. You poor little thing, said the prince and the princess, and they praised the crows, and they said that they were not at all angry with them, but they must not do it again, and then they gave them a reward. Would you like your liberty, said the princess, or would you prefer permanent posts about the court as court crows with prerequisites from the kitchen? Both crows curtsied and begged for the permanent posts which they had thought of for their old age, and said it was so good to have something for the old man, as they called it. This story is so wild. The prince got up and allowed Gerda to sleep in his bed. What? I'm taken aside here. What? Why? Anyway, we're gonna continue this story. The prince got up and allowed Gerda to sleep in his bed, and he could not have done more. She folded her little hands and thought how good the people and animals are, and then she shut her eyes and fell fast asleep. All of the dreams came flying back again, and this time they looked like angels, and they were dragging a little sledge with Kay in it, and he nodded. But it was only a dream, so it all vanished when she woke. The story is crazy.
this, this, the story is crazy. You're fine, Victor, don't worry. Beds are beds in fairy tales. You're fine, Tim. Don't worry. This is fine. It's all fine. We're just gonna keep going. Okay. We keep going. The next day, she was dressed in silk and velvet from head to foot. They asked her to stay at the palace and have a good time, but she only begged them to give her a little carriage and horse and a little pair of boots so that she might drive out into the wide world to look for Kay. They gave her a pair of boots and a muff. She was beautifully dressed, and when she was ready to start, there before the door stood a new chariot of pure gold. The prince's and princess' coat of arms were emblazoned on it, and it shone like a star. Coachman, footman, and outrider, there was even an outrider, all wore golden crowns. The prince and princess themselves helped her into the carriage and wished her joy. The wood crow, who was now married, accompanied her for the first 3 miles. He sat beside Gerda, for he could not ride with his back to the horses. The other crow stood at the door and flapped her wings. She did not go with them, for she suffered from headache since she had been in the kitchen, she had become a kitchen pensioner, the consequence of eating too much. The chariot was stored with sugar biscuits, and there were fruit and ginger nuts under the seat. Goodbye, goodbye, cried the prince and princess. Little Gerda wept, and the crow wept too. Why are they crying? I don't know. At the end of the first few miles, the crow said goodbye, and this was the hardest parting of all. It flew up into the tree and flapped its big black wings, as long as it could see the chariot, which shone like the brightest sunshine. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, welcome back, Em. Welcome. They drove on through a dark wood, where the chariot lighted up the way and blinded the robbers by its glare. It was more than they could bear. It is gold, they cried, and darting forward seized the horses and killed the Pistolians, the coachman and the footman. They then dragged little Gerda out of the carriage. She is fat, and she is pretty. She has been fattened on nuts, said the old woman. Why is this the story? There was an old robber woman who had a long beard and eyebrows that hung down over her eyes. She is a good fat lamb, and how nice she will taste. She drew out a sharp knife. As she said this, it glittered horribly. Oh, screamed the old woman at the moment her little daughter had come up behind her, and she was biting her ear. She hung on her back, a wild and savage little animal as you could wish to find. You bad, wicked child, said her mother, but she was prevented from killing Gerda on this occasion. She shall play with me, said the little robber girl. She shall give me her muff and her pretty dress, and she shall sleep in my bed. And then she bit her mother again, and made her dance. All the robbers laughed and said, Look at her dancing with her cut. I want to get into the little carriage, said the little robber girl. And she always had her own way because she was so spoilt and stubborn. She and Gerda got into the carriage, and then they drove over stubble and stones further and further into the wood. The little robber girl was as big as Gerda, but much stronger. She had broader shoulders and darker skin, and her eyes were quite black, with almost a melancholy expression. She put her arm round Gerda's waist and said, They shan't kill you as long as I don't get angry with you. You must surely be a princess. No, said little Gerda, and then she told her all of her adventures and how fond she was of Kay. The robber girl looked earnestly at her and gave a little nod, and said, They shan't kill you even if I am angry with you. I will do it myself. She dried Gerda's eyes and stuck out her hands in the pretty muff, which was so soft and warm.
At last the chariot stopped, and they were in the courtyard of the robber's castle, the walls of which were cracked from the top to the bottom. Ravens and crows fell in and looked at every hole. So for everyone who's a little bit confused at what's going on in the story, this little robber girl had taken a liking to Gerda and wants to do her a favor, but she's a little bit tsundere in the way that she talks to her. So she's like, yeah, I'm not going to kill you. I don't like you or anything, but, like, I'm going to help you out. A little bit, Lona. So anyway, that's basically what's going on here in the story. At last the chariot stopped, and they were in the courtyard of the robber's castle, the walls of which were cracked from top to bottom. Ravens, crows flew in and out of every hole, and big bulldogs, which each looked ready to devour somebody, jumped out as high as they could, but they did not bark, for it was not allowed. A big fire was burning in the middle of the stone floor of the smoky old hall. The smoke all went up to the ceiling, where it had found its way for itself. Soup was boiling in a big cauldron over the fire, and hares and rabbits were roasting on the spits. You shall sleep with me and all of my little pets tonight, said the robber girl. When they had something to eat and drink, they went along to the corner, which spread with straw and rugs. There were nearly 100 pigeons roosting overhead on the rafters and beams, and they seemed to be asleep, but they fluttered about a little when the children came in. They're all mine, said the robber girl, seizing one of the nearest. She held it by its legs and shook it until it flapped its wings. Kiss it, she cried, dashing it to Gerda's face. These are wood pigeons, she added. Pointing to some laths fixed across a big hole high above the walls. They are regular rubble. They would fly away directly if not locked in. And here is my old sweetheart bee. Dragging forward a reindeer by the horn, it was tied up. It had a bright copper ring around its neck. We have to keep him close, too, or he would run off. Every single night, I tickle his neck with a bright big knife. He's so frightened of it. The little girl produced a long knife out of the hole in the wall and drew it across the reindeer's neck. The poor animal kicked, and the robber girl laughed and pulled Gerda down into the bed with her. Do you have that knife on you while you're asleep? Asked Gerda, looking rather frightened. I always sleep with a knife, said the little robber girl. You never know what will happen, but now tell me again what you told me before about little Kay and why you went out into the world. So Gerda told her all about it again, and the wood pigeons cooed up in their cage above them. The other pigeons were asleep. The little robber girl put her arm around Gerda's neck and went to sleep with the knife in her other hand, and she was soon snoring. But Gerda would not close her eyes. She did not know whether she was going to live or die. The robbers sat around the fire, eating and drinking, and the old woman was turning somersaults. This sight terrified the poor little girl. Then the wood pigeon said, Coo, coo, we have seen little Kay. His sledge was drawn by a white chicken, and he was sitting with the white snow queen sledge. It was floating low down over the trees while we were in our nests. She blew up upon us young ones, and they all died except we two. Coo, coo. What are you saying up there? Asked Gerda. Where was the snow queen going? Do you know anything about it? She was most likely going to Lapland because there was always snow and ice there. Ask the reindeer who is tied up there. There is snow and ice. It is a splendid place, said the reindeer. You can run and jump about where you like on those glittering big plains. The Snow Queen has her summer tent there, but her permanent castle is up at the North Pole on the island, which is called Spitsbergen. Oh, little Kay, sighed Gerda. Lie still, or I shall stick this knife into you, said the robber girl. In the morning, Gerda told her about the wood pigeons, what they had said, and the little robber girl looked quite solemn. But she nodded her head and said, "No matter, no matter. But do you know where Lapland is?" she asked the reindeer.
"Who shall know better than I?" said the animal, its eyes dancing. "I was born and brought up there. I used to leap around the snowfields."
"Listen," said the robber girl. "You see that all of our men folks are away, but Mother is still there, and she will stay, but later on in the morning she will take a drink out of the big bottle there, and after that she will have a nap, and then I will do something for you." Then she jumped out of bed and ran along to her mother and pulled her beard and said, "Good morning, my dear own mother, Nanny Goat." And her mother filled up her nose until it was red and blue, but it was still all affection. As soon as her mother had her dropped from the bottle and had dropped asleep, the little robber girl went along to the reindeer and said, I should have the greatest pleasure in the world in keeping you here to tickle you with my knife, because you are such fun. However, it does not matter. I will untie your halter and keep you inside, so that you may run away to Lapland. But you must put your best foot foremost, and take this little girl from me to the Snow Queen's palace, where her playfellow is. I have no doubt you heard what she was telling me, for she spoke loud enough, and you're generally eavesdropping." The reindeer jumped into the air for joy. The robber girl lifted little Gerda up, and had the forethought to tie her on, nay, even to give her a little cushion to sit upon. "Here, after all, I will give you your fur boots back, for it will be very cold. I will give you your fur boots, but I will keep your muff. It is too pretty to part with. Still, you shan't be cold. Here are my mother's big mittens for you. They will reach up to your elbows here. Stick your hands in. Now your hands look just like my nasty mother's." Gerda shed tears of joy. "I don't like you to whimper," said the little robber girl. "You ought to be looking delighted. And here are 2 loaves and a ham for you, so that you shan't starve." These things were tied on the back of the reindeer. The little robber girl opened the door, called in all the big dogs, and then she cut the halter with her knife, and said to the reindeer, "Now run, take care of my little girl." Gerda stretched out her hands in the big mittens to the robber girl and said goodbye. And then the reindeer darted off over the briars and bushes, through the big wood, over swamps and plains as fast as it could go. The wolves howled and the ravens screamed, while the red lights quivered up in the sky. "There are my old northern lights," said the reindeer. "See how they flash." And on it rushed faster than ever, day and night. The loaves were eaten and the ham too, and then they were in Lapland. Sorry. Thank you, Classical Crisis. They stopped by a little hut, a very poverty-stricken one. The roof sloped right down to the ground, and the door was low, and the people had to creep on hands and knees when they wanted to go in or out. There was nobody at home here but an old Lap woman who was frying fish over a train oil lamp. The reindeer told her all Gerda's story, but it told its own first, for it thought it was much the most important. Gerda was so overcome by the cold that she could not speak at all. "Oh, you poor creatures," said the Lap woman. "You've got a long way to go yet. You will need to go hundreds of miles into Finnmark, for the old Snow Queen is paying a country visit there, and she burns blue lights every night. I will write a few words on a dried stockfish, for I have no paper. I will give it to you, and you can take it to the Finn woman up there, and she will be better able to direct you than I can." And so then Gerda was warmed and eaten and drunk something. The Lap woman wrote a few words on a dried stockfish and gave it to her, bidding her take good care of it. Then she tied on her the reindeer again, and off they flew. Flicker, flicker, went the beautiful blue northern lights up in the sky, All night long, at last they came to Finnmark, and knocked on the Finn woman's chimney, for she had no door at all. There was such a heat inside that the woman had went in almost naked, and she was little and very grubby. She had once loosened Gerda's things and took off the mittens and the boots, or she would have been too hot. And then she put a piece of ice on the reindeer's head, and after that she read what was written on the stockfish. She read it 3 times, and then she knew it by heart, and then she put the fish into the pot for dinner. There was no reason why it should not be eaten, and she never wasted anything. Again, the reindeer told its own story first, and then little Gerda's. The Finn woman blinked with her wise eyes, but she said nothing. "You're so clever," said the reindeer. "I know you can bind all the winds of the world with a bit of sewing and cotton. When a skipper unties one knot, he gets a good wind. When he unties 2, it blows hard, and if he undoes the 3rd and the 4th, he brings a storm about his head wild enough to blow down the forest trees. Won't you give the little girl a drink, so that she may have the strength of 12 men to overcome the Snow Queen?" "The strength of 12 men," said the Finn woman. "Yes, that will be about enough." She went along the shelf and took down a big folded skin, which she unrolled, and there were curious characters written upon it, and the Finn woman read till the perspiration poured down her forehead. But the reindeer again implored her to give Gerda something, and Gerda looked at her with such beseeching eyes, full of tears, that the Finn woman began blinking again, and drew the reindeer along into a corner where she whispered to it, at the same time putting fresh ice on its head. "Little Kay is certainly with the Snow Queen, and he is delighted with everything there. He thinks it is the best place in the world, and that is because he has got a splinter of glass in his heart and a grain of glass in his eye. They will have to come out first, or he will never be human again, and the Snow Queen will keep him in her power. But I can't give you... But can't you give... Oh, but can't you give little Gerda something to take which will give her power to conquer it all?" "I can't give her a greater power than she already has. Don't you see how great it is? Don't you see how both man and beast have to serve her? How she has got on as well as she has on her bare feet? We must not tell her what power she has. It is in her heart, because she is such a sweet, innocent child. If she can't reach the Snow Queen herself, then we can't help her. The Snow Queen's gardens begin just 2 miles from here. You can carry the little girl as far as that. Put her down by the big bush, standing there in the snow covered with red berries. Don't stand gossiping, but hurry back to me." Then the Finn woman lifted Gerda on the reindeer's back, and it rushed off as hard as it could. "Oh, I have not got my boots, and I have not got my mittens," cried Gerda. She soon felt the want of them in the cutting wind, but the reindeer did not dare to stop. It ran on till it came down to the bush with red berries. There it put Gerda down, and it kissed her on the mouth, with big shining tears trickling down its face. Then it ran back as fast as it ever could. There stood poor little Gerda, without shoes or gloves, in the middle of freezing ice-bound Finnmark. She ran forward as quickly as she could. A whole regiment of snowflakes came towards her. They did not fall from the sky, for it was quite clear, with the northern lights shining brightly. No, these snowflakes ran along the ground, and the nearer they came, the bigger they grew. Gerda remembered well how big and ingenious they looked under the magnifying glass. But the size of these were monstrous. They were alive. They were the Snow Queen's advanced guard, and they took the most curious shapes. Some looked like big, horrid porcupines, some like bundles of knotted snakes with their heads sticking out. Others, again, were like fat little bears with bristling hair, but all were dazzling white and living snowflakes. Then little Gerda said the Lord's Prayer, and the cold was so great and her breath froze as it came out of her mouth, and they could see it like a cloud of smoke in front of her. It grew thicker and thicker until it formed itself into bright little angels who grew bigger and bigger until they touched the ground. They all wore helmets and carried shields and spears in their hands. More and more appeared. And when Gerda had finished her prayer, she was surrounded by a whole legion. They pierced the snowflakes with their spears and shivered them into 100 pieces. And little Gerda walked fearlessly and undauntedly through them. The angels touched her hands and her feet, and then she hardly felt how cold the snow was, but walked quickly on toward the palace of the Snow Queen. Now, we must see what Kay was about. He was not thinking about Gerda at all, least of all what she had done outside the palace. The palace walls were made of drifted snow, and the windows and doors of the biting winds. There were over 100 rooms in it, shaped just as the snow had drifted. The biggest one stretched for many miles. They were all lighted by the strongest northern lights. All the rooms were immensely big and empty, and glittering in their iciness. There was never any gaiety in them, not even as much as a ball for the little bears. When the storms might have turned up as the orchestra, and the polar bears might have walked about on their hind legs and shown off their grand manners. There was never even a little game-playing party, for such games was a touch last, or the better bit, no, not even a little gossip over the coffee cups for the white fox misses. Immense, vast, and cold were the Snow Queen's halls. The northern lights came and went with such regularity that you could count the seconds between their coming and going. In the midst of these never-ending snow halls was a frozen lake. It was broken up on the surface in 1,000 bits, but each piece was so exactly like the others that it was formed a perfect work of art. The Snow Queen sat in the very middle of it, and when she sat at home, she then said that she was sitting on the mirror of reason, and that it was the best and only one in the world. Little Kay was blue with cold, nay, almost black. But he did not know it, for the Snow Queen had kissed away the icy shiverings, and his heart was a little better than a lump of ice. He went about dragging some sharp, flat pieces of ice, when he placed it in all sorts of patterns, trying to make something out of them, just as when we at home have little tablets of wood which we can make patterns and call them a Chinese puzzle. Kay's patterns were almost ingenious because they were the ice puzzles of reason. In his eyes, they were the first-rate and greatest importance. This was because the grain of glass was still in his eye. He made many patterns forming words, but he could never find out the right way to place them for one particular word. A word he was most anxious to make. It was eternity. The Snow Queen had said to him that if he could find out this word, he could be his own master, and she would give him the whole world and a new pair of skates. But he could not discover it. "Now I'm going to fly away to the warm countries," said the Snow Queen. "I want to go and peep into black cauldrons." She meant the volcanoes, Etna and Vesuvius by this. "I must whiten them a little. It does them good, and the lemons and the grapes too." And away she flew. Kay sat quite alone in all those many miles of empty ice halls, He looked at his bits of ice and thought till something gave way within him. He sat so stiff and immovable that one might have thought he was frozen to death. And then it was that little Gerda that walked into the palace through the great gates in the biting wind. She said her evening prayer, and the wind dropped as if lulled to sleep. And she walked on into the big empty hall. She saw Kay, and she knew him at once. She flung her arms around his neck, held him fast, and cried, "Kay, little Kay, have I found you at last?" But he sat still, rigid and cold. Then little Gerda shed hot tears. They fell upon his breast and penetrated his heart. Here they thawed the lump of ice and melted the little bit of the mirror which was in it. He looked at her, and she sang, "The roses deck the flowery vale, their infant Jesus we will hail." Then Kay burst into tears. He cried so much that the grain of glass was washed out of his eye. He knew her and shouted with joy, "Gerda, dear little Gerda, where have you been for such a long time, and where have I been?" He looked round and said, "How cold it is here, how empty and vast." He kept tight hold of Gerda, who laughed and cried for joy. Their happiness was so heavenly that even the bits of ice danced for joy around them, and when they settled down, there they lay, just in the very position the Snow Queen told Kay he must find out if he was to become his own master and have the whole world in a new pair of skates. Gerda kissed his cheeks, and they grew rosy, and she kissed his eyes, and they shone like hers. She kissed his hands and his feet, and he became well and strong. The Snow Queen might come home whenever she liked. His order of release was written there in shining letters of ice. They took hold of each other's hands and wandered out of the big palace. They talked about grandmother and about the roses still upon the roof. Wherever they went, the winds lay still and the sun broke through the clouds. When they reached the bush with the red berries, they found the reindeer waiting for them, and he had brought another young reindeer with him, whose udders were full. The children... The children drank her warm milk and kissed her on the mouth. Sorry. When they reached the bush with them, the red berries, they found the reindeer waiting for them, and they had brought another young reindeer with them, whose udders were full. The children drank her warm milk and kissed her on the mouth, and then they carried Kay and Gerda first to the Finn woman, in whose heated hut they warmed themselves and received direction.
Please let me show.
Okay, go ahead. These are the things. Why is this the story? Doctor, stop. Doctor. Why is this the story? I'm going to continue to read the story now. Okay, I can do this. I can do hard things. Okay. And then they went to the lab. She had made new clothes for them and prepared her sledge. Both the reindeer ran by their side to the boundaries of the country. Here the first green buds appeared, and they said goodbye. to the reindeer and the loud woman. They heard the first birds twittering and saw the buds in the forest. Out of it came riding a young girl on a beautiful horse, which Gerda knew, for it had drawn the golden chariot. She had a scarlet cap on her head and pistols on her belt. It was the robber girl, who was tired of being at home. She was riding northwards to see how she liked it before she tried some other part of the world. She knew them again, and Gerda recognized her with delight. You are a nice fellow to go tramping off, she said to little Kay. I would like to know if you deserve to have somebody running to the end of the world for your sake. The freaking little robber girl again. The little robber girl's back, Luna. But Gerda patted her cheek and asked about the prince and princess. They're traveling in foreign countries, said the robber girl. But the crow? Asked Gerda. Oh, the crow is dead, she answered. The tame's sweetheart is a widow, and she goes about with a bit of black wool tied around her leg. She pities herself bitterly, but it's all nonsense. But tell me how you got on yourself and where you found him. Gerda and Kay both told her about it. Snap, snurr. It's all right, lass then, she said, as she took hold of their hands and promised them that if she ever passed through their town, she would pay them a visit. Then she rode off into the wide world. But Kay and Gerda walked on, hand in hand, and wherever they went, they found the most delightful spring and blooming flowers. Soon they recognized the big town where they lived, with its tall towers in which bells still rang their merry peals. They went straight on to their grandmother's door, up the stairs, and into her room. Everything was just as they had left it. The old clock ticked in the corner, and the hands pointed to the time. As they went through the door into the room, they perceived they were grown up. The roses clustered round the open window, and there they stood, two little chairs. Kay and Gerda sat upon them, still holding each other by the hand. All the cold, empty grandeur of the Snow Queen's palace had passed from their memory like a bad dream. Grandmother sat in God's warm sunshine reading from her Bible. Without ye become a little children, ye cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven. Kay and Gerda looked into each other's eyes, and then, all at once, the meaning of the old hymn came to them. Where roses deck the flowery vale, their infant Jesus we thee hail. And there they both sat, grown up and yet children, children at heart. And it was summer, warm, beautiful summer. That is the end of our tale. So, the reason why this story, what made the doctor pick this one? I want to know the same thing now, honestly. And what's funny is that the doctor had read this story like a long time ago. The doctor and I had talked about it because we had not reread it before. And I thought to myself, oh, this might be a good story. I personally read the first 2 pages and thought, oh, this sounds really interesting. Like, this might be a really good story. But why in the world was that girl kissing that reindeer? And then, like, that robber girl was really unhinged. Okay, like, it was a very interesting story. He forgot, honestly, he really did forget. He did. I know, what a Christmas gift you have given us, Doctor, with this story. I'm so sorry. Like, okay, and also, right, the robber girl. Like, let's talk about the robber girl. Like, she was like a Sundari with a knife. I feel like that's very, very dangerous. Why in the world did the Sundari have a knife? Gave her that knife. Her mother had a beard. Her mom's relationship, like, she and that bearded woman's relationship was so unhinged. Why was that a thing? I hope this doesn't go. It's gonna be bright. It's gonna be public. Don't worry. Like, I know it's Each major encounter represents a season. Like, is it a good ending or a bad ending? So many questions. So, like, in the very end, the two children do go back home. They do go back to their hometown, and all is good. And they feel older and wiser. The Good Witch segment was interesting. Like, why were all of those, what in the world were those little flowers talking about, first of all? Like, what? Why? They all had these, like, random little stories. Those flowers did. And, like, it's so funny that Gerda is basically voicing the audience. Where Gerda's like, I don't understand anything that's going on. And in the same breath, everyone in chat is like, what in the world is going on? And Gerda is like, same though. Same. Undertale's flowers be like, I'm lost. I got lost because I fell asleep. What do you mean old TV? I like the Ice Queen lady. She was cool. She kind of was. She gave out a lot of kisses too. Like, that was awesome. She gave out so many kisses. I mean, like, they almost killed him, but I mean, at least she kissed him. A CRT. Like the big giant box TVs. The Ice Lady was cool. I get it. Riku, stop making me laugh on stream today. This is not a laughing moment stream. It's supposed to be relaxing. I'm gonna be honest, that story went in one ear. I mean, kind of literally. Because I was talking in one ear and then another. So, I mean, I was going like this and like this. I don't even know how I'm supposed to do ASMR. Like, I'm gonna be real honest. Like, I've never done ASMR before. I mean, I have with some other shorter stories. But I'm just like, am I being ASMR enough for you guys? Am I whispering enough? Is this providing all the tingles that you guys want? Or is this just like relaxing? I really don't. I feel bad for that deer. Pretty sure that they were violated in more ways than one. Right? Like, I'm sorry that I lost it, guys. I tried to be really professional. The reindeer ending was so sus. It was so sus. Laughing can be relaxing, Chacha. I love your mom. You did good. Thank you. Thank you. Good ASMR. Thank you, Yeshua. I am relaxing like this, gonna be honest. I don't listen to ASMR. And I'm here just because it's you. I'm so glad. Hey Chacha, did you know that Emily loves me? Emily is my sweet baby girl. She is the sweetest of baby girls. Thank you, Emmy, for being sweet baby girl. I like this maybe a tiny bit less whispering. So like, hold on, let me. so kind of like this. Is this better? If I talk like this, is this a little bit better? I can do German stories. Like, the only reason I read this one is because nobody had like suggestions for me for reading stories. I was this close to reading The Little Match Girl. You know that? I was this close. Hi, Aylin. The highlight for the story was Chacha losing it. I'm sorry. If you guys wanted to like have like a completely, straight through, relaxing stream, I couldn't do it. I'm really sorry, you guys. Like, there were a few moments where I almost just lost my mind. Like, the freaking knife tickling Sundari girl. Edgar Allan Poe. Honestly, if you guys want me to read Edgar Allan Poe, I would totally read it. If you guys wanted me to read Edgar Allan Poe, for sure, I would do it. I would. Thank you, Gabriel. I will have to think of stories. What you reading? I'm done reading. I'm done. Courage, it was crazy. Oh, Nevermore would be so good. Relax, we're all professional. Mama is the least professional streamer. I swear. Really. Do you plan on reading? Oh, yes. Yes. Quote the Raven. Nevermore. Nevermore's so good. Yeah, you came really late, Courage. Oh my gosh, Silverbread, thank you for the memberships. on, let me do some like crinkles. I promised I was gonna eat chocolate on stream. Hold on. Get on the crinkles. This is what you wanted, right? Oh, thank you, Brian. Is that a good eat or a bad eat? I'm not doing ASMR, Lethal Company. Doctor's in your other ear. Doctor's literally in your other ear eating chocolate. I'm eating Lindt chocolate.
I'm eating Hershey's. You can hear the decrease in quality.
I mean, you wanted short stories, Cha-Cha, and I don't read a lot of those, or reading any of those. I'll read anything you guys want. No, like, if I did Lethal Company, it would just be like Mama screaming ASMR. It would be like, ah, the whole time. Like, it would just be me going, ah. I'm sorry, but like, I don't think I could do an entire stream of me like putting a thing to my, like the 3DO to my heart, and you listening to like my heartbeat. Like, I couldn't do that the whole stream. And like little dabs, whatever. Like that's cool and all. Oh, we can't do that. Beating you with a ring is stop. I'm gonna laugh. Oh my gosh, Zan. I would love to mollies. I would love to mollies so much. I can only handle so much ASMR. This is honestly comedy as ASMR at this point. Like, I feel like this is just, it's not called a placebo. What is it called? A parody. I feel like this is parody ASMR. Sedentary ASMR. Would you read a vintage Chrysler service book from the 1970s? I would fund the purchase of the picture. Who is going to come to my stream and listen to me read a vintage Chrysler service book, 1970? I mean, would I do it? Absolutely. I would do it for the memes. Absolutely. Like, I'm gonna be like, come on, guys. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna make this entertaining somehow. I don't know how. But I mean, on our last stream, there was some 8-year-old girl who was kissing a reindeer. And they were nursing from her udders for milk. I'm so sorry I had to subject you guys to this. Doctor isn't. I would completely read Edgar Allan Poe. Educating the children with chancla ASMR. Smashing your face with a metal pipe ASMR. You already laughed, Cha-Cha. You laughed. I'm sorry. Mama ASMR. Put your Randalls off about Kylo Ren. For the money memes. An audio recording would be funny. Doctor is really in your other ear eating candy. That's what he's doing. Sharpening the knife in front of the child ASMR. But why is that hilarious? Why would I do that? Read us the lore of Star Wars. Paralyzing you with a taser ASMR. Doc ASMR. But he just complains. Witcher, I love Kylo Ren. I wish I wasn't using ASMR right now, because I freaked out the moment you said Kylo Ren, because I love Kylo Ren with a burning passion. That is my fictional husband, and I don't care who hears it. That's my fictional husband. The doctor is so jealous. Oh my gosh. The doctor was sharpening ASMR. He's sharpening a knife. The doctor, I love hugs too. My second husband. The doctor is literally on your other ear sharpening a knife with a knife sharpener ASMR. You guys, that's sharpening knife ASMR. What is this stream? He's doing it right now, you guys. Good night, Gabriel. Have a good night. Scratching the back of your head ASMR. I mean, you scratching doctor's hair, not scratching your own. Listen. Doc, can you tickle me with that knife?
Hold still.
Oh my freaking goodness. He's gonna tickle you guys with a knife. Can you guys hear that? He's tickling you guys with a knife. Okay, Doc. ASMR big time. Oh. Knife chills. Doc's ideas are being content. Victor, why did you tip $50? It's what they say. Joke's on you. I lost the ability to be tickled years ago. It's a reference from our book that we just read. I'm so sorry. Quick, head pat Mama with the knife. Please don't. Please, I want to live. Do the doctor just going off script to do knife sharpening is? I know he's going off. He's going right off the handle. I feel like knife tickling is going to be a meme and a joke in the house for a while. Are you wrong? You're not wrong. I can't believe you're sharpening a knife on stream. I can't. Can you come up with other content? This is just the same thing over and over. But honestly, would you read the U.S. Constitution? I would, Victor. I'll read anything the cutie pies want me to read. I really will. Speaking of which, I am going to be reading a poem that one of the cutie pies had written for us to read on stream. The U.S. tax code, absolutely. Please don't tickle me with Mr. Pointy and scratches my porcelain vessel. Did you just call your body a porcelain vessel? That's freaking hilarious. Saying you just called your body a porcelain vessel. That's like a really nice way to say, like, my white body. That is so smart. We need to tell the doctor that he has a porcelain vessel. Like, I feel like that would just be more gentle than saying your skin is like a mayonnaise. It'd be really white, bro. Chocolate off my fingers. I just want to sense into the attic. To be fair, Chacha, the ASMR from the knife sounds soothing. Does it really? Wait, do you have the U.S. Constitution?
Of course I do.
Oh my gosh. The doctor has an entire U.S. Constitution, and I have to read it on stream now.
It's too long.
What do you mean it's too long?
It's 190 pages.
Why is it 100 pages? I'm not reading 100 pages. I don't have time for that. I read 100 pages.
Just like the Declaration.
Okay, I'm gonna read the Declaration of Independence. My man. It's a freaking 100 pages. I'm gonna read, I'm gonna read something. So hold on. Wait. Okay. So I'm reading some. Chocolate. It's 7 small pages. Okay. Okay, yeah, freedom. Okay, guys. I have to fix this. Hold on, I've gotta fix my face for this, okay? When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth a separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. Decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the cause which impel them to separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, and that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on these such principles, and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established... Do you like my old man voice? Hold on. Should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shewn that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards to their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. Give me 1 second. Big word, big brain. He has refused his assent to laws the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for accommodation of large districts of people, unless these people would relinquish the right to representation in the legislature, a right inestimable word to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository. There's big words here, and Mama can't read. Records for the sole purpose of taking them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for the... How long is this? This is really long. I don't think I could read an entire thing of this. This is super long. English is hard.
Alright.
I can read. Yeah. You're not reading it.
You're close.
Do I have to finish? I'm already here. I might as well finish. Fine. I'll finish. In the meantime, could you please get the thing that I asked you to for Boogie?
Yeah, I thought you said it was here on the Discord.
Mm-hmm. So it is. Yes. Doc reads the rest. No. No, he doesn't get to read. We're not here to listen to good readers. We're here to listen to entertaining readers. Okay, like there's a huge difference. Okay, we're putting this down really quick, Doctor, because I need to occasionally read chat. Hello, I need to see what they're saying. Pick a different language. I'm gonna feel at that too. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly, opposing with many firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time, after such dissolutions, to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers incapable of annihilation have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states, for that purpose obstructing the laws for naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of lands. He has obstructed the administration of justice, by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone, for the tenure of their offices and the amount of payment of their salaries. He has erected a multiple of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislators. There's no consent from the legislators. Legislators. There's no consent. That's what it says. He has affected to render the military independent and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation. There's a lot of legislation for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial, for punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offences, for abolishing the free system of English laws, neighbouring province establishing therein an arbitrary government and enlarging its boundaries, so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule in these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments, for suspending our own legislators and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate us. Hold on. I lost my place because Doctor distracted me. With power to legislate us in all cases whatsoever. Okay. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, destroyed the lives of our people. He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete. What is this word? Complete?
Point.
Complete?
Complete.
That is not
the works of death.
That's not how you spell
You
complete.
think spelling remains the same over centuries?
That's not complete.
It's been over 2 centuries.
That's not complete. That's not the word complete. That's spelled Compleat.
If you told one of these guys he was gay, he would say, "Oh, I look that happy." Don't tell me words don't change.
What the heck? This is okay, whatever. to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages, and totally unworthy the head of civilization. He has constrained our fellow citizens, taken captive on the high seas, to bear arms against their country, to become executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us, and has endeavored to bring out to the inhabitants of our frontiers the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sex, and conditions. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms, or repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of our free people. Now, we have been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our emigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity. And we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations. Thank you, Doctor. Which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and of another really big word, consanguinity. Consanguinity. Okay. Consanguinity.
Golf claps for Cha-Cha.
Really good. It's good. Which denounces our separation. Hold them as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies, in war and peace, friends. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress, assemble and appeal to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions to, in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these United States colonies are, and of right, and ought to be free and independent freaking states, and they are absolved from all allegiance to the British crown and all political connections between them, and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and do other acts and things which independent states do, may have any right to, and for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protective of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, our sacred honor. The 56 signatures on the declaration appear in the positions indicated: Georgia, Button, Quinn. I'm not reading these names. And then there's John Hancock from Massachusetts, and he's like the first one to signature because he's like, the MVP. And there's like a bunch of like there's a guy named William Whipple, and that's the funniest name. Okay, and then John Hancock signed the Declaration of Independence because he was the OG from por acá. Caca. Okay. We're ready for kisses now, I think. You guys are crazy. Oh, no. I still have to read that story from Monkey. Hold on. Okay, are you guys ready? 'Twas the shizzle before was okay. No, I'm actually reading this night. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and in a cozy abode, Cha-Cha prepared for the holiday load. The doctor joined in the cheer as stockings were hung and festive lights drew near. Boogie had a wicked scheme to steal Christmas joy, a devious dream. He danced through the windows, slick as can be, but little did he know his plan was easy to see. Cha-Cha's cutie pies, with hearts full of glee, awaited the magic that hung in the tree. Boogie sneaked in with a sinister grin, his eyes on the presents, ready to win. Cha-Cha, with a twist and a turn of her hips, caught wind of Boogie with mischievous quips. Boogie, oh Boogie, you won't steal the night, for Christmas is sacred, filled with delight. Doctor chimed in with a serious tone.
Stealing of joy, leave it alone.
Boogie laughed, a rhythmic sound, but Cha-Cha's crew had courage profound. Emily, with a giggle, said, Boogie, be good, and join us for cheer, just as you should. Luna the Possum, tactical and wise, suggested a dance-off, a festive surprise. Boogie, tempted by the rhythm and grace, couldn't resist joining in the holiday chase. The living room echoed with music and glee as Boogie danced, finally feeling free. In the end, Christmas was saved with a spin. Boogie, now part of the family, found joy within. Cha-Cha, with a wink in her eyes, declared, Merry Christmas to all of my cutie pies. And so, with a beat and a jolly encore, Cha-Cha's family celebrated with hearts galore. The night was enchanting, a tale to be told of dancing and joy and a Christmas unfold. There we go. So cute, so comfy. Thank you to Boogie for writing that for our... I know Boogie wasn't here. That's okay. You guys can get that clipped and then show it to Boogie, who spent, some good time making that cute little poem for us to read today for our comfy, cozy Christmas stream. Boogie did do a good story. It was very, very cute. Good job, Boogie. Okay, you guys. I think I could probably eat one more candy. And then we'll probably do kisses. Okay? This is what you guys want. The snacks. That's what we want. We want the delicious snacks. No, not kisses. This is, what is this? A Ferrero Rocher, no, isn't it? Oh, this almond roca. I can't be uncultured, according to the doctor. It's almond roca. Not to be confused for, almond roaches or something. That'd be disgusting. Who would eat that? I would not eat a chocolate roach.
Yeah, well, they're gonna be able to think of what's crunching. It's the sound of the roaches being separated by your teeth.
I like Hershey Kisses. I don't know any of those. Okay. That was really good. Wait, I think I need my water. Where's my water? Thank you, I'll take that. Thank you. Yeah, that's the water. Okay, we're done with that. Okay, I think we're just gonna end stream with kisses. This is gonna be so weird. Okay. Listen. I don't take any of this seriously. Don't. Dude, this is on stream. Okay. Let me lean.
Yes, yes, you can have a hug. Just embrace me. Absolutely, Victor. There you go, Victor. B, even one for you. There you go. There you go, B. There's one for you. And, have a good night, Silverbread. Have a great night. Okay, Crimson. Oops. Put that away, Doctor. Doctor, stop. Stop it. Go away, Doctor. 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 Doctor, what the heck? He broke my camera. I'm so sorry, you guys. It's freaking Doctor's fault. Look what he did to me. Look what he did. What the crap? He broke me. Hold on. What the heck even happened? What the heck? He broke me. Doctor, stop messing with my stuff. This is my show. Go away. Okay. So, Minton, here's one for you. There's one for you. You were trying not to laugh the whole time. Oh my goodness. I know, I'm sorry the stream died. Absolutely highlight. There's one for you. Sure, one for Cora. There you go. Rico, one for you. One for you, and one for M. And Gabriel. One for Gabriel. And Brian. There you go, Brian. A solar one for you. There you go. And, none for the doctor because he broke my stream. And, B, one for you. There you go, B. Is there anybody else that needed a guess? Did anyone else need a guess tonight? Island one for you. There you go. A not spin. Hello. Let me give you a kiss. There you go. Not spin, Sora. Izumi. There you go. Oh my goodness, Izumi. I gave you a kiss. May I convince you to give? Oh yes, 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 yes. Another one for me. I think the reindeer had enough kisses, Doctor. Yes, Saiyan, one for you. There you go, Saiyan.